Hey, it's Jason. I'm back with another video, and today we're going to take a look at my favorite board game, Talisman. This is actually the 3rd edition. They're currently on 4th edition, and there's an online version as well that I play quite a bit. But 3rd edition will always have a special place in my heart. Could be from the miniatures, could be just because this was the one that was out when my friends and I started playing games like this. So we'll look at the rules, we'll do a little review, just kind of show you how to play. The premise is really simple. Everybody's got a character, and there's a huge stack of character cards. Everyone gets a character, they've all got their own special stats. You roll a dice to go around the board. Whoa, we dropped a dice. You go around the dice, you go around the board, you land on a space, do what it says. Usually it will say to draw a card, and that's where we have this stack of adventure cards. You got to get to the middle of the board where there's a special deck of tower cards to draw from. You do what the cards say, you win the game. But what makes it even better is that there are expansions. And let's get those set up before we go over the rules, because they just make it look that much cooler. So we've got the mountain. We've got the town, the dungeon, the forest, the tower, straighten that out a bit, and the Dragon King. Perhaps the coolest miniature in all of gaming. Look at that guy. My brother painted him. I'll have a link to his website down there if you are curious. Okay, so this is Talisman with all the expansions. Unfortunately, it is out of print, so they're not making new expansions, which is too bad because the 4th edition has like, I don't know, 600 million expansions or something like that. I think the 2nd edition, they'd even go into space, which is just crazy. Let's get these expansion cards. Okay, so we'll do a rundown of the rules. First thing you do, you pick a random character. This is how my friends and I pick random characters. Are you familiar with these cards? Yeah, they're not related to Talisman, but it worked for us. We took a revised lands and just wrote all the characters' names down. So we draw out some cards to pick a random character. Pretty cool. There's a whole stack of characters to pick from, which is really cool and adds a lot of playability. I'm going to do this demo with the Ranger, and we kind of painted him to look like Tanis the half-elf from Dragonlance, because the Dragonlance books rule. So before we go over the rules of play, I'll go over characters real quick. Every character has abilities for strength, craft, and lives. That's their starting goal too. But so your strength is 3, your craft is 3, your lives are 4. It's different for every character. But basically, that's used for combat. You have little tokens for strength and craft for everybody. We'll get those on this guy. And this guy starts with some objects as well. A broadsword and a bow. Okay, those add to your attack. Okay, and here's his miniature. He starts in the village. So we gotta find the village. There's the village. Okay, and there's the starting goal. Let's go over combat quick. I'll use a different character just because that guy's all set up. Okay, so the way combat works. You fight in either strength or craft. If you land on a space and draw a card and it's a monster, it will have an ability of either strength or craft. So if you fight in strength, you look at your strength score and you roll a d6. A d6 looks like this. When I roll, it often looks like this. When the, whoa! When the monsters roll, it often looks like that. But you take your starting strength, you roll a d6 and add it. Then you take the monster, you take their strength, and you roll it. You add them up in highest rolls. So like if we were fighting this guy, for example, I got a strength 3, I roll a 2, so that puts my total strength at 5, and then the monster is at strength 5. He rolls, came up with a 5. 5 plus 5 is 10, the monster would win. So that's how combat works. If you land on a monster with craft, you do the same thing. You take your craft, roll a d6 and add it. The monster's craft, roll a d6 and add it. Highest number wins. On a tie, nothing happens. If you lose, you gain a life. If you win, you gain experience points based on their number. So you beat this guy, you get 5 experience points. Experience points are these little tokens. When you have 7, you can trade them in to go up a level. And when you go up a level, you can gain a strength, you can gain a craft, you can gain a life, you can gain a gold, I think. I don't know why you would do that, but that's how combat works. So let's look at gameplay. You got your character and your starting point. You roll for movement. He rolled 4. You move 4 spots. You can go in either direction. We'll go this way. That says draw a card. So you draw from the adventure deck. Now let's move this around a little bit. And it's a helmet. You can just pick it up and take it. You can only have up to 4 objects, so you gotta be careful with what you get. Let's back up a second and go over the goal. So without the expansion, I said you get to the middle of the board and there's 5 tower cards. You go through those cards, you beat them, you win the game. With the expansions, you have the Dragon King, so you need to fight him. So your goal is to get to the middle of the board. You need a Talisman card. We'll show another Talisman card. If you have a Talisman card, you can get in, and you need to climb the tower all the way up and fight the Dragon King. And he is a guy with a strength 12 and a craft 12. So you can pick if you're strong in strength or craft to fight him. And again, let's just show how cool he is. He's gonna get you. You just don't want to mess with the dragon, do you? Okay. It'd be player 2's turn. I'm not using a player 2, so we'll just keep playing, just to kind of go through the rules some. Okay. You roll, he goes roll to 1, go 1 space. You go, you draw an adventure card. And this one is discard this card and gain 2 gold coins. So you do that, you get 2 gold coins, and that's it. You can use the gold to buy things. Next player goes. I'm just going through this with 1 player just to show you the mechanics, kind of. You can go in either direction. What I like to do is just, keep going until you find something. This card says, a pestilence has fallen on the land. All players must lose 1 life. You lose a life, take a life counter off, and just put it aside. When you get down to 0 life counters, your character dies. Here we'll go again. 5. So you move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says draw 1. You draw 1. Oh, here we got combat. So this is a wolf with a strength of 1. So again, let's do combat. I had dice someplace. Here we go. Okay, so we roll. He rolled a 5. You add 5 plus 3 is 8. And now the wolf rolls. He can't win this, but we'll roll just for the sake of argument. The wolf rolls a 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. The ranger won the battle. The wolf goes to the graveyard or discard pile. And the ranger gains 1 experience point. You got 7. You can trade him in to go up a level. If the ranger would have lost that battle, he'd lose a life and the wolf would stay on that spot. If there's something on that spot, you don't draw a card. Let's go again. 5. Just for the fun, we're going to the expansion. That's when you draw from different cards. So, we're in the mountain. it says draw 1 mountain card. We've got a strength 3. Ranger rolls. He rolled 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. The Chaos Dwarf rolls. He rolled 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. He won the battle. The Ranger loses a life. And the Chaos Dwarf stays on that spot. So if another character lands there, they would fight the Chaos Dwarf instead of drawing a card. It's very cool. The expansions do different things. So, you know, and if you're playing with expansions, you don't even need to go to them if you don't want. You can just stay on the main board and try to get to the middle of the board, fight the dragon. But you go through the expansion, what are they called? Realms, I think? And they have different things. So like at the end of the forest, we'll pull this up. You fight the Wraith Lord's lair. You must stop here and fight a psychic combat. That means in craft against the Wraith Lord, who has a craft of 6. So you fight him in craft 6. If you defeat him, you take a talisman and 2 gold. So that's cool. You get a talisman. You know, when you have a talisman, you can enter the tower. So this guy gives you a talisman and 2 gold pieces. Win, lose, or draw. On your next turn, you enter the forest on the wood space on the inner region. Inner region. If you defeat him, then the next player will find a new Wraith Lord who has taken his place. Okay, so when you defeat him, it sends you to this wood space in the inner region. They call this the outer region, and then they call this the inner region, and you have to do stuff to get to the middle. You can cross over a bridge here, and there's other carts to take you there. Let's just say that happened. We defeated him, we got to the woods. You land there, it says draw 1 adventure. We'd fight a strength 3. And let's pretend like we beat him just for fun, so we've got a talisman too. We'll fight a strength 3. We roll 1, we got 3, so that's 4, plus we have the broadsword, so that's 5. I forgot about that when we lost that battle in the mountains. The Chaos Dwarf, but who cares? Now we fight this bandit. The bandit rolls. I got a dice somewhere. Boom! He rolled a 5. Regardless, he wins the battle. This guy loses another life. So he'd stay in the middle there. And then, you know, at some point, if you're strong enough, you get in there. You roll to get to the top of the tower and fight the dragon. Let's make that a little, see that a little bit better. Yeah, and then you go up there and you fight the dragon. When you're in the tower, you draw cards like this. I don't know, I kind of did this pretty simple just to show the real basic premise. I should back up and show you these other expansions. So the woods had the Wraith Lord. At the end of the dungeon expansion, you fight in the treasure chamber. You fight the Lord of Darkness, and he is strength 6, where the other one is craft 6. If you win, you get a talisman and 2 gold, just like the other one. Win or lose, on your next turn, you exit the dungeon in the causeway space and move normally from there. If you kill him, the next player finds a new Lord of Darkness has taken his spot. So the causeway is here. So again, both of these expansions get you a talisman and transport you to the middle of the board so you can get up the tower and fight the dragon. Let's see what we got here. At the end of the mountain expansion, you fight the Eagle King. He is also a strength of 6. If you win the battle, you manage to subdue rather than kill him. Ooh, on the next turn, he will take you to any space in the region, including the Wizard's Tower. If you lose, he drops you off in the chasm space on the main board. Okay, so he'll drop you off at the Wizard's Tower too. But does he give you a talisman? I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, let's see. Huh, he doesn't give you a talisman, so that's not as beneficial, is it? Let's look at this other one here. The city. The city, you don't have a boss to fight. It just has all sorts of little shops You can buy some armor, you can visit the enchantress, and she'll give you things. Look at that, number 1, she'll turn you into a toad. Being turned into a toad is terrible. You replace your icon, or your character, with this guy. Look at that guy, he's pretty. Here, so it'd be like, you're no longer this, whoops. You're no longer this awesome looking ranger who looks like Tanis the half-elf. Instead, you're a toad, and you gotta move that toad token around the board. It's so humiliating. You do that for 3 turns. You also have to drop all your objects in place and gold. So if, let's say you're over here, you turn into a toad, all your stuff gets left behind. And it's really annoying. So when you're a toad, you can only move 1 space at a turn. So you're a toad for 3 turns. You go 1, 2, 3. You know, you can't get back to your space until you turn back into a normal character, and you got to roll to get there. So if another character is playing along, they could roll there and pick up all your stuff before you even get the chance. But anyhow, other stuff you can do in the city. You can get blessing cards, whatever those are. I don't even remember. I think they help with your dice roll. You can buy a horse in market. There's just all sorts of stuff. You can heal. Somewhere there's an alchemist. You can trade in objects for things. Yeah, trade in objects. You can join these guilds, which just make you like more powerful. So, you know, the expansions really add to the game. Each one has their own type of card. So this like says draw city card instead of adventure card. So the city cards are things like this. You still get bags of gold. So there's still objects, and there's still monsters in the city. You know, I mean, that's a strength 4, and there's gremlins, and there's thugs that attack, and all sorts of stuff. And the final thing we should look at are spells. Characters can have spells based on their craft. You have to have, I believe, 4 craft before you can have a spell. So let's say you're the astronomer, for example. Here he is. Begin the game with 1 spell. You draw from the spell deck. And spells, they're all different. It's whatever the text says on the card. Like this says, you may cast this spell when a player, monster, or spirit, including the Dragon King, has to lose a life. It prevents a player from losing a life or anything else from being killed. When cast on anyone who has just been defeated in battle, it prevents death, resulting in a standoff. This is, in 3rd edition, this card makes the game last forever, because you get one of these, you hold on to it, your opponent gets to the top, fights the Dragon King, beats him, somebody else goes, bam, preservation, the battle is nullified, it's a standoff, and the player moves all the way back down to the bottom with no talisman. It has to go back all the way to the top if they ever get a talisman. So that's how spells work. You just kind of, you draw them as you find them. There might be, you might land on a space that says gain spells. You might land on a space that says buy spells. There's places where you can go. So that's the basic gist of the rules. It's literally, you roll dice, you go around the board, you do what the cards say, you hope to get to the top and fight the ugly Dragon King, and then you win. And then you have all the takedown, which takes a good half hour to put the game away. But it is an awesome game and has lots of pieces. We made this little box to keep it easier. And that's it. It's so much fun because it's like D&D without a dungeon master. You still fight monsters, go up levels, gain experience, gain gold, buy items. The most important thing to do to win, you gotta just grind. You gotta walk around, fight monsters, and get your experience up. You want your you know, you pick what you fight the Dragon King in. So if you're a heavy craft player, like if you're the astronomer, you're stronger on craft. So you're going to shoot for 12 to 15 craft before you go fight him. You know, you don't want to go there with 10 and then lose the battle. So you want to be, he's got 12, you go there with 15, you've got a 3 craft advantage over him, and that's good. But you still also need, you can't just focus on craft. You're also going to have some strength, or all the monsters are going to defeat you as you play the board. So there's quite a bit of strategy. As far as multiplayer things go, if you land on a space with another character, you can choose to fight the other character. So let's say this guy lands here. You can choose to fight in strength or craft. You fight just like a monster. If you defeat another character, you can take an object, a gold, or a life. Oh, you know what I didn't mention? There's also followers. Let's find one quick. Followers work kind of like, let's see, I've got to find one in here someplace. Followers work kind of like objects. Here's one. So you line up all your objects here. You can only have up to 4 objects, and you line up your followers here. Your followers give you other abilities. So here, for example, the horse and cart. The horse and cart can carry any number of objects for you. If you lose the horse and cart, you lose any objects they were carrying. So while you can only have 4 objects, you can have extra objects held by the horse and cart. So say you've got a talisman, a bow, a helmet, and a broadsword, and you land on some other object you want to pick up. Say a, I don't know, a pastry. You land on a pastry, you want to eat the pastry, but you don't want to discard any of these cards in your hand. If you have the horse and cart, the horse and cart can hold this. And there you go, then you have your pastry. If you lose the horse and cart, then you lose the pastry. Bah! And that's it. I love the art, I love the game, I love the gameplay. It's quick and simple and so much fun. You can play it, I think they say ages 12 to adult. My 8-year-old plays it just fine. But that's it. It's an awesome, fun game. If you have played it, go ahead and leave us a comment and let us know if you like this one more than the 4th edition or the 2nd edition. And if you haven't played it, well, give it a try. You can pick it up on eBay for, I don't know, under $200, which for an out-of-print game like this isn't completely outlandish. Mine isn't in the best shape anyhow, so I don't plan to ever part with this one. It's our go-to game when we don't feel like playing Magic. And that is it for now. We'll be back next week with another review. So go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.